Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hi everybody, this is Alex Bennett, and I've had a long and interesting trip. It's called life. And for years, people have demanded that I write a book about it, and while I've been a writer, my main talent has always been that of a broadcaster. Over a year ago, I decided not to write the book, but using my best skill, I decided to tell it. It's called Life in the Passing Lane, and I described it as an audio biography. It's presented in 30-minute chapters, so it's easy to binge listen. And you can access it on the GABNET page by clicking on Life in the Passing Lane and going to a page with every single episode, plus some extras. If you want to access it on your mobile device, that's easy too. It's on iTunes. It's Life in the Passing Lane, an audio biography by me. I'm Alex Bennett.
This is an Internet Network news break. IP Pingsley reporting. Our top story, the Great American Broadcast Network, otherwise known as GABNET, is now a TuneIn partner. TuneIn, the world's largest audio network, has joined forces with GABNET, the world's most innovative talk network. GABNET's partnership with TuneIn means that listeners now have 3 main ways to listen to GABNET programming: GABNET.net, TuneIn.com, and the convenient TuneIn app for smartphones. To participate in the network's innovative citizen panels on GABNET programs, use Skype and type the handle GABNET Live, or call on your phone 347-352-0079. For more information on this network, its programs, and its hosts, log on to GABNET.net. That's GABNET.net. This has been an Internet Network news break.
GABNET needs you. Yes, GABNET needs you to call our live programs and be a part of the citizen panels. It's the most innovative talk format yet, because it's not just one caller, it's a group of callers interacting with the hosts at the same time. Here's how you do it. It's simple. First, download Skype at skype.com. To install it, answer 4 simple questions: first name, last name, email address, and your choice of ID. Then launch Skype, go to Add Contacts, type in GABNET Live, and ask to be made a contact. Then you're ready to be on the citizen panel. If you're too lazy, well, you can always call on the phone at 347-352-0079. That's 347-352-0079. For all the information and a call button for Skype, log on to GABNET.net. At the bottom of the page, you'll find a video on how to call us and how to use GABNET. It couldn't be easier. It couldn't be more fun and exciting. We're new. We're different. But we need you to call. So for crying out loud, call, or we'll kill this dog. Don't worry, Fluffy. They won't let you die. I'm not kidding. Call or Fluffy gets it. Oopsie. Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey everybody, how are you? This is Alex Bennett and this is the Ramble, and we will go until much later, like midnight Eastern Daylight Time, with our little thing called the Ramble. We'll go to our citizens panel in just a little bit, but every now and then we gotta check in with some old friends. Okay. We do it once again. We always this particular person, when we call them, we just ring the phone first because they always come up with something funny. Okay, let's see what happens here. We're ringing out there, and there we go. What does he have to say? Is he even there today?
And here's my impression of Robert De Niro in the year 1846. I got one thing to say. Fuck Polk. Thank you. Thank you very much. Something for the history buffs.
Fuck Polk.
Yeah. We believe in fuck Polk, too. Yay, we're actors in the 1800s. Well, we're doing this show a little differently, I want to say. I'm outdoors. This is going to be an outdoor podcast show. I'm in the parking lot of the wonderful Sun Valley Mall in Concord in front of the Macy's store. This is going to be like that old Dick Clark show where the action is from the 60s. When all the bands would play outside and lip sync on the beach and in parking lots and stuff.
I remember that. Jeez almighty. And they were always lip synced. What always pissed me off is they always lip synced. You know, nobody ever played live.
Mm-hmm. Well, on the American Bandstand, Jerry Lee Lewis insisted on performing live, and he almost didn't do the show. Said, "No, you have to lip sync the record." I'm not going to lip sync the record. I'm going to play live. They let him play live, and I think he's the only one that ever played live on American Bandstand.
Well, you know why they lip synced? Because it would be too expensive to bring a band in and get an audio guy, you know, who could
exactly
do
all
the audio
plugs and the wires and this and that. They could just play the record and lip sync, and everybody's happy.
Yeah. So, you know, what the hell? Jeez almighty.
Yeah, what the hell? I don't know. But here we are on a beautiful sunny day outside in Concord, and it's just like where the action is. And here's every mother's son to sing, "Come on down to my boat" for all your young kids out there.
So where are you exactly in the Concord Mall? I'm
in between Sears and Macy's. It's quite exotic.
It's
beautiful.
Are you sitting in the car?
I'm sitting in the car. It's shady. Nobody's bothering me. I'm in a kind of semi-isolated part of the lot where we won't hear anybody, and it's just a very nice day.
Oh, gee. Well, I just, you know.
I thought we'd do it under the sun today.
Yeah, yeah. So what did you think about Robert De Niro the other night?
Well, I don't know. I don't know that it solves anything to say that. It was venting, and all the liberal Hollywood actors, "Hey, we agree. I don't know what that accomplishes. You know, he vented, and he had a right to vent, but you know, I really don't have an opinion on it. He said what he said, and that's what it is. I still like his movies, and I have nothing against him. I would have said something different. I would have said, "Good evening, good to be here at the Tonys," but that's me.
Yeah, yeah. But if you were to say "fuck you, Trump," would you have done it in a Stephen Pearl manner?
I probably would have made it a little funnier if I did.
Yeah,
but I have, you know, like a little bit, like something like, "Hello, hello, President Trump. This is the President of Mexico. How are you, Pendejo?" "Oh, Pendejo, that must mean the great one. Yes, this is Pendejo. I just want to let you know we are not paying for the wall." "You are paying for the wall." "We're not paying for the wall." "You are paying for the wall." "We are paying for the wall." "You are not paying for the wall." "That's right, we're not paying for the wall." Click. "Oh, I'll get you. I'm Pendejo." Something like that. A little comedy sketch.
A little comedy sketch of sorts, yeah. Some people felt that De Niro's statement alienated certain people.
That probably pissed some the more conservative people off. It was you know, it made news.
No,
that's for sure.
That it kind of, there are arguments that by doing that, it brought the discourse down to a certain level that some people, even liberals, don't feel comfortable with.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know what to say about it. If I was him, I would have handled it differently, but I'm not him, so there you go.
Well, you were saying you would try and do it funnier, but you can't do it funnier than De Niro doing the De Niro voice, saying, "Fuck Trump."
I want to tell you, I'm watching you. Fuck Trump. Fuck Trump.
And then he comes back and he goes, "No, it's no longer something about I don't like Trump. It's fuck Trump."
I know. You know. It keeps getting more and more hateful towards the guy. And I don't blame him. I think Trump is a doofus, but you know.
Are you talking to Trump? Are you talking to Trump?
You talking to me, you bloated orange fuck? You talking to me? Yes, I'm talking to you. I'm Pendejo. Come on, suck on this.
Yeah.
I don't know. He obviously doesn't like the guy, and you know, like I didn't like Nixon. You know, if it was Nixon back in the day, he said fuck Nixon, I would have been cheering along with him. But,
yeah.
And I'm not a Trump fan at all, but you know, I want him to succeed. You know, I think he's a horrible person, but I want him to succeed.
Well, I mean,
for all of us living in this country,
we always want every president to succeed because then we succeed. But unfortunately, I don't think he's doing much to succeed. I think he's doing a lot to make people believe he's succeeding.
Yeah,
but I don't see any evidence of it. You know.
He's a snake oil salesman. He's a good at self-promotion. Everything's about him. So, look what I did with Kim Jong-un. I did this. And what was really accomplished, I don't know. I don't even know why we meet with him, because we have so much more military power than Korea. And I believe we have stuff that could shoot their stuff down if they pointed it towards us. So what are you even meeting with him, guy? We could level the guy, I believe. So, I don't know. I think it was just a big press relations thing or something to make him look good.
Well, no, Trump had a press conference afterwards, in which he talked about what they talked about at the meeting, and he believed this is true. He said, I told Kim Jong-un that they've got all that beachfront property. I'm not kidding you. And that they should build condos there.
That's a realtor's mind at work. And there's nothing a fascist dictator likes better than providing affordable, good housing for his people.
He said, because I've seen pictures of your shoreline there, because our planes go over it all the time.
Think of the golf courses, all the golf courses.
He says, and you could build condos there, and you could build resorts there.
I love it. And who's the mediator? Dennis Rodman. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo.
Well,
you wonder why the UFOs won't land.
You got to give Rodman some props here, okay? He went over there, played basketball, came back here. Everybody hated him. But he did open up relations with the United States.
It's true, he did. It's just like the
and then on top of it, then they assailed him for not attacking or doing anything about human rights in North Korea. So he wrote Kim Jong-un and said, you should release so-and-so got released.
Yeah, that freaking help. It was like, what's her name, Kim Kardashian, going to Trump at the White House saying, you should free this lady. Some lady was put in jail for life for dealing drugs, and he freed her. So, you take the good wherever you can get it. Well,
this week when they were talking about, Kim did this and Kim did that, I thought they were talking about Kardashian when they were talking about Jong-un.
Yep. Kim's doing really good.
Yeah.
God bless it.
So I always like to ask this of every comedian, how's the career going?
What is this career you speak of, Earthling? Well, actually, I was actually in demand the other week. I emceed the wonderful Throckmorton Theater in Mill Valley, a nice show there, and I was at the Punchline before that. And I think I get another gig in August. So, it's I was in show business. Then I was in slow business. Now I'm in no business.
Now, do you go out and look for work, or does it just kind of come to you now?
It came to me. I don't hustle at all. I am not. I'm the anti-hustler. If somebody calls with a gig, I go, let me think about it. So I want to leave the house that night, but no, I don't really hustle. Like occasionally it comes finding me, and I'll take it.
You got to hustle. You just got to hustle.
I know. I'm not a hustler.
I always
aren't even funny who hustle their asses off at work all the time. So I don't have that hustle gene anymore.
I always refer to Durst, who looks at his calendar in the morning. If there's a blank space on it, he's got to fill it. Oh
yeah. He's a major hustler. He's great, man. He's working all the time, and he deserves to. He's excellent.
Well, he's excellent, and he deserves to because he works the room, as it were.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's to say he's a pro is an understatement. Come on, he's when I first saw him in '79, when I had 5 minutes of material, he was kicking ass for 40 minutes. Just whoa, and that was early Durst. So yeah, he was nailing it then.
Now you're the go-to guy for music.
Yeah, here and there, sure. What do you want to know?
What are you listening to these days?
Everything. I like in the morning. I wake up. I do a bowl, I have a cup of coffee, and I play Frank Sinatra's The Coffee Song, the 1960 version, not the 1946 version. There ain't no Brazilians and no coffee beans. Oh, man, that goes good with a cup of coffee and a bowl of weed like you've never believed.
I'm the Sinatra. I'm the Sinatra expert, and I will disagree with you. I think the Billy May arranged Coffee Song, which I believe was on Come Fly With Me.
I think it is, yes.
Yes, was the best version he ever did of that song.
Oh, it was kick-ass. The 1946 version, it's a little calypso, and I'm not crazy about, but the 60 version was kick-ass, and I play that every morning without fail with my crappy cup of coffee I make myself. And then I'll play some Muddy Waters or some Sinatra or lots of Johnny and Edgar Winter, of course. That's part of the diet. Old-timey blue, whatever. It depends on what I want to hear. Sometimes I want to hear something really bad, so I'll find some horrible song that's out of tune. But sometimes I like really bad music almost as much as I like really good music. And if you want to hear one of the worst songs ever, look up W.L. Horning singing Rocking and Rolling. You will be hard-pressed to find a worse song than that.
What is this? What is this song again?
It's from the 50s, some guy named W.L. Horning.
Is that horny as in Horney?
No, horning, like he's doing it. Okay. Horning.
What's his first name?
And it's initials, W.L.
Horning.
I don't know who he was, what he did, what he lives on. I doubt he's alive anymore. This record is the worst engineered, worst sounding, worst singing, worst edited. It's horrendous, and I love it. I turn people on to it, and they go, "Why did you make me hear that? I can never hear it."
Rocking and Rolling?
Yeah. Check it out. It's on YouTube. You won't believe it.
I have it here.
And
I have it
here. There's a little film of people dancing, and it's pretty bad.
If I play it, it might not go out over Facebook, so,
You may not want it to. There'll be mass suicides if people hear this song. It's that bad.
Really?
Yeah, it's horrible. It's not even a song. I don't know what it is, but it is a song, but it's a horrible one.
Okay, so everybody, right now, go to W.L. Horning and look at Rock and Rolling. It's like
Rocking and Rolling.
It's the second thing there. The first one being Kiss Me Baby.
Oh, he had another one? That must be the flip side. I haven't heard that one, but I assume it's not exactly
now,
Sgt. Pepper.
Why do you, is that the worst song ever recorded?
Just listen to it. Then if you don't agree with me, we'll have a little debate on it. It's horrendous.
I am the biggest... I'm just this huge Sinatra fan. All I ever really listen to on my headset when I'm at the gym or when I'm walking or when I'm anywhere is Frank Sinatra.
He was the best singer ever.
I mean,
That's popular, sir.
But there are some times I've got to click and go to the next track.
Yeah, well, not all of them were winners. Like even the Beatles did a couple of quarters.
Well, he did an album. He did an album called Watertown.
Watertown, 1970, his hippie album.
That was written by Rod McEwen, the worst poet of all time. And it is just a horrible, horrible album.
He made a mistake. Frank smoked pot for the first time, so let's do this. It didn't work out.
Then if you listen to him sing Night and Day in Milan, in his Milan concert in Milan, if you can get a copy of that, which is, it's underground and all that. He, just opening up, it does such a clam that I couldn't believe Sinatra was that bad, and the rest of the song is as terrible because he had at that point in his life, this was about 1986. He had good days and he had bad days.
Oh yeah, it was starting to end then. So,
and this was a terrible day. Now I have a copy of a concert in Milan the day afterwards, and he was terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, he was never terrific at that point in his life. He had lost his powers.
Yeah, sure.
After Old Blue Eyes came back, I think maybe there were one or two good albums, and then after that it was just, and to hear him do Neil Diamond songs later on,
oh God, Cracklin' Rosie, that broad's on fire, Jack. Whoa, it's not working, Frank.
But you go back to the Capitol days and the early Reprise days.
Reprise was those days. The 50s to like the mid to late 60s were incredible. I couldn't be touched.
His Basie albums were terrific, and his Ellington album was terrific. But there's a truth about the Ellington album that most people don't realize. It's what was it? I can't remember their real names. Francis K. and so and so.
Francis. What was his middle name? I don't know. Francis Albert and Edward Ellington.
Yes, or something like that. Anyway,
Edward Kennedy Ellington.
Yeah. So the truth about that album is that by that time Ellington was so lazy that he just wanted to show up and go ding ding on the piano. and that all the arrangements on that album were by Billy May, emulating the Ellington sound. Where he was always very good at imitating orchestras as well and styles.
Yeah.
He did, for instance, years ago, he did all those Stan Freberg records where he would do Lawrence Welk and then he would do something else, and he had to recreate the sounds. And he managed to capture Ellington almost better than Ellington did.
Yeah, I mean, he knew how to copy. He was a good copier. He
Yeah.
was a forger.
but all those arrangements are Billy May.
Damn, he was good, though.
But he said, I'm not going to be Billy May right now. And what I loved about Billy May's arrangements, I like Billy May's arrangements better than Nelson Riddle's arrangements when it came to Sinatra. Mainly because Riddle did nice arrangements, okay? He did beautiful arrangements. He was great at concert songs, you know? But when it came to music where you wanted to have fun, Billy May was just full of humor in his music. You know, it was just, I mean, he was the one that did On the Road to Mandalay, that arrangement. And just had so much fun with it. And I just love Billy May. And the reason I love Billy May also is when I was a kid, I used to love those Capitol Kids records. And Billy May was, like Bozo the Clown records, Billy May was the orchestra.
Oh my God, he arranged those. Hey man, gotta pay the bills. Right?
No, he was like the house band at Capitol. He could do anything for Capitol. So all those Capitol Kitty records, Rusty and Orchestraville, things like that. You know, it was always Billy May. So when it came to Sinatra, he took that same kind of sense of humor that he had with those things and applied it to the music Sinatra was doing, and I think did some of the best arrangements that ever were written for Sinatra. I mean, Come Fly With Me is just an absolute fucking classic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and who did the Luck Be a Lady Tonight, the swinging version? They call you Lady Luck.
I think that might have been Riddle, but I'm not sure.
Oh, I like that. Oh, man, I listen to that one almost every morning, too. There's a live version from '65 on YouTube, and he's just owning it, man. It's incredible. You don't mess with Frank.
It could have been Billy May, but they did a concert in England a few years ago where they did a tribute to Sinatra. One of the people singing, oddly enough, was Seth MacFarlane of Family Guy. And they had a bunch of British singers who I never heard of in my life, who were all, and they went back and forth doing all these Sinatra songs. But what they did, and this is why, if you can lay your hands on that concert, it was done at the the prom. They call it the Proms, and I'm trying to remember where they do it. Albert Hall, the Proms at Albert Hall.
The Royal Albert Hall.
And they did an all night of Sinatra. And what they did is they went out and got the arrangements that he used. In other words, they didn't just write their own arrangements. They went and got the charts. They rented the charts out, I guess, from the family or whatever. And so all the music you're hearing are the original Nelson Riddle arrangements, the original Billy May arrangements, the original Johnny Mandel arrangements, and Don Costa arrangements. It's wonderful, and okay, Seth MacFarlane, you're okay, you're mediocre.
I like him, but yeah.
But I didn't. I just tuned him out and listened to the arrangements.
Oh, there you go. Pretty. It works. I mean, you want it to sound like the record anyway, except for the singer. But
Sinatra was blessed with some of the greatest ever arrangers.
Best material, best arrangements, best voice, of course. Oh my God, he had it. He had it all, baby. And all the broads he could shake a stick at.
I mean, we go back to his Columbia days, and we think, that's not a Sinatra. It's my go-to Sinatra, except like the last Sinatra album out of Columbia, because then he was being forced by Skitch Henderson to do all these stupid songs like "Mama Will Bark" or whatever that song was with Dagmar.
He didn't know, wasn't Mitch Miller or something? I think Mitch Miller.
Did I say Mitch Miller?
Hate each other. I know that. Mitch Miller, absolutely.
Wait, what did I say? Did I say Skitch Henderson? I meant Mitch.
Yeah, you said. I forgot who you said.
No,
I think you're thinking of Mitch Miller.
Mitch
who liked
Miller.
Dogs barking on records. And seals and horns and stuff.
Mitch Miller believed in the novelty record. And
Yeah,
so
like novelty
Sinatra was
records.
being forced by contract to do these novelty songs, and it was driving him nuts. You know, but he had a arranger by the name of George Saravo, who was really good towards the end, that did his arrangements. And then he came over to Capitol, and a lot of the stuff you hear in the original Capitol records is George Saravo arrangements and influence. And wow, you know,
Wow.
I
I believe Mitch Miller also, he might have produced the Charlie Parker with Strings record in the 50s, because I bought it and there was pictures of Mitch Miller in the studio with him, which is pretty interesting. So he was apparently, capable of producing some good stuff.
I'm trying to remember the song that he did that was his first record that he recorded at Capitol, and it was a Nelson Riddle arrangement, but he didn't know it was Nelson Riddle. And after he was finished recording it, I'm trying to remember the song now. I know it by heart, you know, but right now my mind's a blur, which is becoming these days. But he after he did this the session, he listened to the playback and he said, "I'm back." It was that arrangement, you know.
Wow.
Wow. And and he was back, and he had, you know, then I think he just won the Oscar or whatever, and
oh yeah,
all of that
for some reason his career had a lull before that. I don't know why, but then he won the Oscar. He was back, baby.
All of that gave him
for to eternity.
All the difference was between the old Sinatra and the newer Sinatra was confidence. And then he felt...
Well, there was more of a swagger and a swinging, you know, the old records of the 40s and stuff were real ballads, and the later ones were just swinging, balls out, you know, barn busters.
The very last stuff he did at Columbia were literally a precursor to what happened at Capitol. But then I got to tell you this, and I know this because I'm, you know, as a broadcaster, I'm aware of this sort of thing. He went to Capitol that had all state-of-the-art equipment, so the quality of the sound was so much better. And now they were recording these things on tape, not on the acetate. So if you go back to the last Columbia album, you can hear the arrangements there, but it doesn't have that quality that he got over at Capitol, that really clear, pristine quality. And they were using Telefunken microphones, and they were doing it on tape, and, you know.
Yep. All the modern equipment.
Yeah, I mean,
and these 4-track recorders are ready to go.
You know, but I got to tell you, it just you know, Sinatra to me was the greatest thing. Not since sliced bread, he was sliced bread.
Oh, he was. You ever see him live?
Once, towards the end of his career.
One time.
And he lit the stage.
I never got to see him.
They put a cigarette out and lit the stage on fire.
Screw this! I'm burning the joint to the ground, baby.
It was at the Circle Star Theater, and the stage is a rug. And he put out. He put, you know, he was singing a ballad, and he threw the you know, cigarette down, and he thought he put it out, but he missed it by a mile because he was. I'll tell you one last thing, and we got to go here. I'm watching him sing, and he's staring at me. I'm like in the third. I'm like in the third row, right?
Wow.
And he's staring at me, and he's staring at me, and he's staring at me, and I can't figure out why he's staring at me. And then I look in front of me, and there's a teleprompter. He's reading all the songs off the teleprompter. There was one. This is a circular stage, and each quadrant of the stage. And I look over at another teleprompter, and he's singing. He goes, "I get so hungry for dinner at 8." Wait a minute.
Forgetting the words.
Wait a minute. Jack. And I look at the teleprompter, and it says Jack on it.
It says Jack. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It says Ooby-Doo right here. Oh, my God.
It was painful. Because that was towards the end. It was the night.
It's no fun to get over.
It was the night Jilly died. I was supposed to meet him, and then I couldn't because he didn't want to talk to anybody. But it was the night Jilly died.
Oh God, yeah.
And my father worked with him at Cal Neva, and I saw him walking in the halls and stuff, but I never saw him perform.
Wow.
Hey, listen, let's do this in a couple of weeks, okay? This is terrific.
Anytime. I think we'll move it back to indoors, maybe, but you never know. We may be out in the park. Anything can happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the inimitable Stephen Pearl.
Thank you, the outdoor nature-loving Stephen Pearl. Thank you so much.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Always love talking to the Pearl because we talk about music and things like that. Yeah. Anyway, let me see here. Let me get rid of this, which is all the stuff that plays the audio, and let me bring up the Skype panel here, so that we can go to the citizens panel. That's how people call us, is using Skype. And if you don't know how to do that, simply go over to our, what do you call it? Our go over to our webpage, gabnet.net, and therein lies every hint on the right-hand side of the page on how you can call us using Skype and where you can get Skype and all kinds of crap like that, okay? Well, the lines are open, and now I'm going to sit around waiting for people to call. The other night, everybody called immediately because I didn't really start taking calls till about 10 of the hour. And I guess everybody was waiting to see, well, when do we go on? When do we have a chance? And then they all just piled in there. And I think we had almost a full house within like 2 minutes, which reminded me of the old days when this thing actually had a listenership. Well, let me fix my collar there. Anyway, so I'm sitting here waiting for people to call, and if you want to call using Skype, as I said again, the easiest way for me to tell you is to go over to GabNet and all the .net, and all the information is there. Phone numbers that you can use if you don't want to use Skype, just things you can click on to go to the Skype page and download the program and all of that. So give it a go. You'll enjoy yourself if you join the citizen panel. Okay, I'm just glad in a way that we don't have tons and tons of listeners, because if we did, I would have trouble probably keeping people from ringing the show. But here we, for the most part, never get our full complement. Hey, there's our first caller of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Phil.
Hey, how you doing?
Wait a minute, hold on a second. Let's add Jeff to the group. Yeah, there we go. There's his picture up there, and pretty soon we'll have him. Yeah, there we go. There's Jeff, and of course we have Phil. And how's your heart doing? Have you got any more word on that?
June 19th.
June 19th, what?
Oh, then they'll inject me with a radioactive isotope, put me on a treadmill, try to make me have a heart attack, and then take a picture of
you having
what's
a heart
left.
You collapsing.
Yeah. Well, I went 6 minutes on the last one. The whole time I was just having a nice conversation with the gal who was doing the EKG. Mm-hmm. And, I said, how did I do? And she says, well, there's something. Let me take it to the cardiologist. And that's when they came back and said, it's time for another.
Yeah. Well, I had that happen to me once where it happens all the time. Whenever they try the EKG on me, it just doesn't work for some reason. And part of the reason is that he then checked me over with his little sonogram deal and found that I have a arterial stenosis. Yeah. But it's mild. And it's remained mild over the years.
Stenosis is a narrowing of something, right?
Yeah,
the artery.
It's aortic stenosis. That's what it is.
All right.
Yeah.
But does that mean it's a narrowing? And
that
my
means
cholesterol is doing?
Well, the word is mild. Okay, So,
Yeah.
and at my age, mild aortic stenosis is pretty natural. But every couple of years he checks it just to make sure it hasn't gotten narrower, and it hasn't, So
That's good.
I'm fine. And then next week I go in for my yearly checkup with the doctor, who will then check send my workout to be PSA'd, among other things. Oh, wow, everybody's calling tonight. Here comes Brian.
7 so far.
Yeah.
Oh, 8.
Yeah, we're are you in a car, Brian? Yes, you are.
Yeah, I am. I'm parked, though, so.
Yeah. Okay, good. No, so I have to go to the doctor next week for my yearly checkup. And, of course, I'm worried about my PSA test. But then I wonder why my PSA went up a whole point last year. And the difference between last year and the year before that is the diet. And supposedly red meat can cause a higher PSA.
I don't know.
Yeah. So the only thing that changed in that year was the fact that I went on that low carbohydrate diet. Yes, Jeff.
You've also been exercising a lot more.
Well, that's good for my LDL cholesterol.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the prostate, PSA test going up, because I went through the whole thing with you, and I don't want to pee in my pants all the time.
Nah, but at your age, with your level of prostate, why don't you just get a TERP, so that it'll open up the.
No, I'm not going to get anything I don't need. Okay.
So the drugs are doing it for you?
Oh yeah, the drugs are fine. Oh, I don't have a problem with that. Yes, yes, Brian.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Am I coming in clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. I meant to say. I thought about bringing this up last Friday, but I'm glad I overslept, as I told you in the message.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Tuesday, so it's the beginning of a new miserable week for a lot of people. So it's better to start with this on the beginning of a new miserable week than to end it on a weekend.
Yeah.
I'll just read the last paragraph word for word so people can draw their own conclusions as to who the asshole is versus who the bigger asshole is. And Amy, if you're listening, this is about you. Many of us don't really care for the Beavis and Butthead South Park style humor and would rather that you don't put it on our pages. Namely my own page that I created as a tribute to your Gabnet.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Back up a little bit, Brian, because we need a little history here.
Yeah.
You created a Gabnet page?
I did. A group page. Gabnet Live.
Facebook?
Yeah, but we already have a
Tim
Facebook.
knows about it. Yeah, I did. It's a group. It's a group page versus a regular Facebook page, which is what already exists.
But I already have a Gabnet Live group page.
Oh, I thought it was just one of those fan, like one of those.
Well, I think you can do a fan page. Mine is we have Gabnet Live. If you go to
well, it's unofficial, and I've stated as such over the course of the last.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Didn't she start a page, which I let her have it for doing that?
Not as far as I know, and if she has, I hadn't even so much as looked at it. So
that was your page, not hers.
Then yes, it was.
Oh, she says she
correct.
Started
if we're thinking about this, it gets worse. Then she's worse of a human being than I thought.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's tread nicely here. Let's try and be nice. After all, she is one of the Gabnet family, if that's what you want to call it. Dysfunctional as it is. Hello, Rob. Boy, we're filled up almost. Look at it. It's wonderful. Anyway, so what is your beef here, Brian? And try and tread lightly.
Oh, since you told me that, yeah,
What's your beef with? You have a beef with Amy, right?
Oh yeah, I do. Just as far as I know, I don't know who many of us are. And when she says that, many of us don't care for your Beavis and Butthead style humor.
Yeah.
As far as I know, You don't seem to have a problem.
I don't have a problem with it. No.
And you own this whole enterprise.
Well, I don't like to think I own it, you know. But
Well,
but the people who do shows here are sharecroppers, so you know. Right, Rob? You're sharecropper, right? On Gabnet.
Yeah.
But and Rob, you even pointed this out of several months ago about how she started saying on the intersection how I should watch what I say on account of how it could reflect on her candidacy.
Well, I don't, to begin with, say anything you want on that show. I don't give a shit about her fucking candidacy. You know, I'm not.
Not in lieu of this. Not in lieu of this. I don't. I did. I held back. I mean,
how
out of respect for you, Alex, and Jack. More out of the respect for you two, but I'm not as inclined to hold back.
Well, I mean, I don't like the fact that any consideration is being made because of her candidacy. You know, if she wants that kind of.
But I had a suspicion. I don't mean to interrupt, Alex. Part of the reason why I have to interrupt is because if I don't, I'm going to forget what I'm going to say.
Well, finish what you're going to say, because most of this doesn't mean anything to anybody. Okay, except me and a few people who were involved listening to that show. Okay.
But to some who want to shut me up, as I suspect, some who want to shut me out, like Amy, and shame me into submission. It's not about her candidacy. It's about her not liking my personality overall and my disposition.
Yeah.
She's using coded language to cover the fact, which pisses me the fuck off.
Oh boy, I love it when you get mad.
Shit like that pisses me off. I don't care if I don't give a shit if I'm not treading lightly, Alex. I'll slam dance on eggshells. I don't fucking care. You go behind my back and you do shit like that, because I've had people in the past do this to me too.
Yeah.
That's it. The gloves come off. I don't give a fuck. I'll set fire to the whole fucking place. I don't. Shit like that. That's the shortest route to my fucking last nerve.
Okay.
At least someone like Phil, like I said, like I told you before in the instant message feed, Alex.
Calm down. I know it's Phil who has a heart problem, but I don't want you to have one. You know.
Phil and I may disagree politically on damn near everything, but I like to think that at the end of the day, after the lights come off, if we lived in closer proximity to each other, and Phil, I'm talking to you as well, we could go out and have a beer and bullshit. I mean, we may not agree on a whole hell of a lot, but we're not going to stab each other in the back like that.
Phil doesn't take his politics that seriously that he determines who his friends are going to be, right, Phil?
Most of my friends are left-wingers.
I've got a few right-wingers myself, Patrick notwithstanding, but also offline and in high school and all that. Yeah. I know a friend of mine who I graduated high school with that would make both Patrick and Phil seem like Dianne Feinstein or Hillary Clinton by comparison.
Let me calm things down for a quick second. Let me calm things. Yeah, let me calm things down for a second, Brian. I notice you have an air freshener in your car. Yeah. Will you do me a favor and smell it and see if it's still fresh? Because people keep those things in their car for like 20 years, and of course they lost their freshness in the first 10 minutes they were installed.
Brian told us why he keeps those. He says that there's many cars in the lot that look the same, but his has the air freshener, and that's how he finds it.
Among other things, I keep on here just so I can tell the difference, because how many blue Hyundai Elantras are out in the world?
And now this little dust up with Amy, Scott calls that show a lot. Do you know about this little dust up between them, or Ray?
Show, I think I fell asleep. No, I don't know about it.
Oh, okay. How about you, Ray? You're raising your hand.
Yeah, I've been on there quite a bit lately. Brian, was this a recent thing?
It's culminated. It's been a culmination, and Rob pointed it out once. Rob Alfano pointed it out several months ago.
Because she's done the same with me, and I just kind of kid around with it. I mean,
did the same with Mike.
I don't mind actually, though. I mean, I just kind of kid her back. I mean, she takes it, and so she takes it really seriously, and so.
Well, Rob. What did you say to Brian?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember you saying it.
I was making some kind of...
Was it on that show or on this show that I said it? Because I quite frankly...
It was on this show. You brought it to Alex's attention. and it was just like late 2017. You brought this to Alex's attention.
That's why I haven't.
Well,
I haven't called that show since probably late till 2017.
Well, the thing is,
well, the only thing that accepts that bothers me on Amy's part is the fact that I expect that if people go out of their way to call the show, that we treat them with a certain amount of respect. You know,
unless it's me,
unless it's you, and in which case I know you can take a punch. Okay, yeah. You know. But can we go to some other subjects now that you got that off your chest, Brian?
Fine.
Oh yeah, well Jeff.
Yeah, I can pass on that, but I'll just say I often listen to her show and Jack's show when I'm going to sleep, and it's a very palatable place to fall asleep.
Well, I'm glad you didn't say that about my show. You know.
No. I'm okay with you at midnight.
In fact, Rob, work on a promo saying the Intersection, a good show to fall asleep to. Would you do that?
I won't need Xanax.
Hey, I got a promo for you, Alex. If you did like what she says at the end of every broadcast, if you don't have anything nice to say, come sit next to me with the following disclaimers. You can't use the word fuck. You can't use the word people are cunts. You can't use the word go fuck yourself. You can't use the word shithead.
I don't encourage.
There are disclaimers to what you can say and not say according to her.
I don't encourage the use of language on this show, but if people want to use it, this is this fucking internet. I can use it. I just did. Yes, minstrel.
I honestly don't like the expletives on any of the shows. I just think there's a better way to express yourself.
Yeah. If you don't like it, Phil, fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck me.
Fuck you.
Turn it off.
What kind of New Yorker is bothered by expletives?
No, nobody.
I just don't think they have a place on a radio show.
This isn't a radio show. This is a fucking internet. And there's seven.
You're a radio guy.
There may be 7 people listening to it. So that's not even.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Hey, when I was on the WRCC, there was 7 people listening to me.
Yeah, but that was a over-the-air broadcast. But anyway, let's get on. There are a lot of things to talk about. Okay. Oh God, there are a lot of things to talk about.
Trump with North Korea, yeah, of course.
Well,
very proud of him.
Well, just hold on.
Really?
Hold on.
Me too.
Huh? You too? Who?
Yeah. Me.
Really? You're freezing up on us.
He's the best president we've ever had. This is the start of a brand new world, people.
A reality show.
Nukes and
reality shit show.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
They were saved by bringing our troops home.
Just think of the new resorts we're going to go to in North Korea. Love it. That's my favorite. That's my go-to destination place. North Korean beaches.
Now, what do you love about the whole thing, Phil? Let's get the positive thing before we all lay into it.
Okay. What happened is he turned upside down the diplomatic scenario. So instead of having the underlings manage this from the bottom up, he just did what he does, got together with the guy, started a conversation,
and what did he get done?
But he got it started.
What did he get done?
Well, he started a road for peace in the Korean Peninsula.
Really? Yes, Jeff.
It's called the Professional Trump Sycophant Ass-Kisser Strategy, which means nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. Now, Phil.
We'll see.
Phil. Okay, they signed an agreement, didn't they?
Memo.
Huh?
A memo.
Ended a 70-year war.
Oh, I see. It did.
Yeah,
it did. Do you? Okay. Well, would you tell us what was in it? Because I have it right in front of me, And
well, they're returning the bodies.
No, that's not part of the deal. That's not. That
well,
was.
They are.
He brought that up to him, and Kim Jong Un said, "Sure. Why should we have some rotting bodies in our midst?" Okay, but that wasn't one of the things that was signed.
Not good enough, huh?
It's not in writing. It's not in writing. What did they put in writing? Remember, they sat there, both of them signing an agreement.
Yeah, that they, as far as I know, I didn't read the agreement, but I know that.
Oh, you didn't read the agreement? You know, probably,
no,
and probably neither did Donald Trump, because when they asked him what was in it, he had to try and find the place in it that he wanted to find out the answer to the question the person was asking. Can I show you, people out there, and also you, Phil, and how big that agreement is? Can you see it?
One-page memo.
That's pretty nice.
Page. Huh? It's a third of a page. Yeah,
it's
well,
a
you got to
read. No, actually, a typewritten page is about a fifth of the page. This is what the. Do you know what's in this agreement, Phil?
His signature. It's
no. What's in this agreement?
Why don't you read it, since it's
no.
of a page?
You're the guy who loves what Trump did.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, just the fact that he met with the guy, he brought him out of his country. They met, they talked.
Wait a minute. Well, you could say he brought him out of his country. He left his country and went to Singapore,
which is one of the few.
And was there actually 2 days earlier than Trump, so he could do a little sightseeing.
Well, that's because they have a Disney thing there, but or Universal. But the thing is, he hasn't traveled out of his country since 2011, and he's, of course, he's afraid of a number of things, even though he went to school in Switzerland. Since he's become...
I'm still asking you what's in the fucking agreement.
No, fucking read it. You lazy? Come on, read it.
No, because I want to find out, because before you can say how wonderful he is...
An agreement.
No, before
which, as far as I'm concerned, was the start of something good.
Oh, I see, the start of something good.
Isn't that a song?
Yes.
That's like somebody who tickles the end of your penis and says there's more to come.
Maybe.
Not on their end, there isn't. On your end, maybe, but not on their end.
Yeah.
The start of a new reality.
Okay, but let's look at the... Oh, yes, Patrick.
Number one, they did have it in that agreement, the recovery of...
No, they don't. Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. You're correct. That's in here. Yeah, I have it. Yeah. It's number 4.
So that's one thing that he accomplished. The other thing, and I will back Philip on this, because this has been said from the outset, he didn't go in there with the expectation of ending anything, but rather beginning the talk of denuclearization. And that's what happened. Because I've got the 4 things right in front of me, too. And I'll tell you what, if anything comes out of this immediately, just the recovery of the body is a good start. Because the families have been waiting for 70 years for these bodies. And I had a thread on my Facebook page that got pretty fucking shitty by some people, saying, well, who gives a shit about bones? Well, you know what? If you've ever lost somebody...
No, look, I understand that, but I don't think... I think this was a concession that was asked for, and Kim Jong-un had no argument against it, since what the hell, if this is what it's going to take to show good faith, you do it. It's not a major thing that got accomplished. We have not found peace in our time because we're getting bodies back
so you're
bones back.
As far as you're concerned, if it didn't lead to automatic a final agreement.
Let's go through this agreement.
Yeah, I'm seeing it right here. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Well, to begin with, it says nothing. It says nothing.
It says that they're going to commit to establish relations in accordance with the desire of the people of the two countries for peace and prosperity. I mean, if you don't set a goal, you'll never accomplish it. It's a written goal. There's nothing wrong with that. It's an obvious joining efforts to build a lasting and stable peace regime on the Korean Peninsula. Is that so bad?
Oh, gee, now you're reading it because you didn't read it earlier today.
I didn't even know it was out.
And Trump never.
Trump also said that they were going to stop the war games, and they didn't tell nobody.
Yeah, they didn't tell South Korea that.
Well, they found out. At least it wasn't on Twitter.
They're temporarily halting.
Yeah.
They're not ending them. They're halting them.
They're halting them.
Right.
And if North Korea doesn't conform and start to denuclearize as they promised, then the war games can start again.
Wait a minute. Number 3 says, first of all, number 1, in case people are listening want to know what it is, the United States and the DPRK commit to establish a new U.S.-DPRK relations in accordance with the desire of the peoples of the two countries for peace and prosperity. Okay? That means, we promise to talk to each other. All right.
Good.
That was obvious when you were having discussions, okay? It didn't take much to get that. It didn't take much to get this one either. The United States and the DPRK will join their efforts to build lasting and stable peace regime on the Korean Peninsula. All right? And number 3, reaffirming the April 27, 2018 Panmunjom Declaration, the DPRK commits to work towards complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Now that, when they say that, that includes South Korea. You realize that, don't you? Well, may not be fine with South Korea.
Say that again, please.
What? Reaffirming
they're living in peace. They don't need them.
Wait a minute. You are living in a dream world, Phil. Reaffirming the April 27, 2018 Panmunjom Declaration, the DPRK commits to work towards a complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Now, yes,
no nukes.
Huh?
No nukes.
No nukes.
No nukes.
It's okay with me.
Yeah, I know that's okay with you, but that wasn't. Wait a minute, that wasn't Trump's idea. That was Kim Jong-un's idea.
Well, no. Trump wants complete denuclearization.
Well, I don't think he's going to get it. Okay.
Well, you didn't think there was going to be a meeting today either.
The United States and the DPRK commit to recovering POW and MIA remains, including the immediate repatriation of those already identified. Which, that's about the only thing that has any real substance in there, but it has nothing to do with peace. It has to do with shaking hands and saying, okay, I'm going to do something nice for you. Yes, Jeff.
Started with
Jeff has his hand up.
People are there in North Vietnam that were originally somehow connected with the United States.
What'd you say?
How many people were there that are dead and their body is in North Korea? 1 people? 2 people? 7?
I don't know. After this many years, I don't know how many bodies there would be. I can't believe that they saved them and said someday we may have to give them back.
After Vietnam, once we came to a peace agreement with the North Vietnamese, they returned our war dead. But
that was slightly more possible than 70 years later.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, it wasn't possible to have this until Trump started negotiations and started an open dialogue with the North Koreans. This has been a failed legacy for 70 years. And several presidents have tried to have negotiations.
They have had negotiations, and they have signed agreements, Phil.
With other leaders. It wasn't with Kim Jong-un.
Well, Kim Jong-un's only been the leader of that country for, about 8 years, something like that?
Since 2011.
Do we trust that son of a bitch?
Well, wait a minute. Let me finish. We have had negotiations with North Korea. They have signed non-proliferation agreents, and the previous North Korean leaders have there's only really been 2 have reneged on it. So what makes you think that the same thing isn't going to happen here? It's amazing how, I'll tell you something right now, we have a better deal going with Iran than we do with North Korea, and probably we will settle for less than what Iran did when we do it with North Korea.
Your statement has no basis in fact.
I'm basing it in fact because according to every person who's been armed with the duty of checking the nuclear capabilities of Iran, the nuclear inspectors have said they have been living by their word. And that is an international body. But by the way, we don't like the international body because we hate all the other countries, and yet you go to fucking Singapore and you kiss the ass of a guy who's killed people, who has caused endless grief, and call him talented. Jesus fucking Christ, in what world is that motherfucker living?
We were this close to nuclear war 6 months ago.
No, we weren't. We weren't this close to nuclear war because the guy didn't. No, the guy didn't have the missile capability of delivering it.
But it delivered it to
no.
To
Trump made you feel like you were on the edge of the abyss, but you weren't yet.
And you don't think he could have delivered it to Incheon, Seoul, Japan?
No, he didn't have the nuclear capability. Because you've got to be able to have the rocket go up, have enough protection for the bomb so it doesn't blow up in midair from all the friction. But you don't know about this kind of thing because you're like Trump. He doesn't even have a science fucking director in his administration.
Yeah, he doesn't need one. All he needs to do is
all he needs is what he learned in biology. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yes, Ray.
Well, here's what I think. Trump wants the Nobel Prize. So he had this meeting with the G7, and he fucked them over. And just because Canada said we don't like to be pushed around, Trump loved that because then he had to be a bigger excuse to fuck them over and look like a big man in front of Kim Jong-un, which he needed to do. And he screwed over our allies so that he could go over there and have this bullshit meeting with this guy who had his brother-in-law chopped up into pieces and fed to dogs. And nothing actually happened from this meeting. It will come to nothing. And all Trump gives a shit about is winning the Nobel Prize. And he screwed over our allies in order to get the Nobel Prize for himself. And that's what I think. And he probably will get it. And then he'll flex his muscles, and all of his supporters will go.
You know who's nodding his head?
Phil and all the other
Who's nodding
idiots.
his head? Yes, is Rob. Rob?
Yes, it's all for show on both sides. On both sides, because
both sides of what?
Maybe Trump is like a little bit better than Kim Jong-un. That's the kind of guy he is. He could give a shit. Why isn't he bringing up all of the atrocities, all of the stuff? Because he doesn't give a shit. He cares about himself and nothing else.
How can he meet with that guy? That guy is a pig.
Right.
That guy has people murdered in his government if they go against him.
He's giving him all kinds of accolades.
And by the way, he did not bring up the violations of human rights.
And he said he wouldn't.
Right, exactly.
Yes, and the fact of the matter was, and then he gets out in public, and rather than saying we had a nice discussion, very nice to meet him, blah, blah, blah. No, he's a very talented guy. Oh, he's wonderful. His people love him. He said his people love him. You know, I mean, there was so much dick sucking going on the part of Donald Trump. I couldn't believe it.
It's sad.
The Nobel Peace Prize. He
and
wants it.
Sad state of this world.
I say the only guy who should get the Nobel Peace Prize for this is Dennis Rodman.
Did you see that? Did you see the interview?
I saw. I saw what I could of it because it was in bits and pieces.
He was wearing a Magna hat.
No, everybody was calling him crazy and nuts and all of that, and yet, hey, look at where we are now.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
he was
thing that got me that if you looked at that whole thing and sat back and looked at it, he went over there and treated Kim Jong-un like he was a little kid, and which he is, and Rodman went over there and treated him like a little kid and played with him and went over there and smoked cigars and you know, bought him candy and played basketball with him and that's kind of like what I feel like what Trump went over there did and they were both a couple of little kids and went over there and they played their little games and said, oh, look what we got, and, you know, we got this little thing and we're gonna play our little games and we're gonna stand in front of the cameras and you know, have our little fun and then we're gonna go home. with this little piece of paper, and we're going to leave that behind and see what happens.
But the question is, who's the big winner here?
Nobody.
I think Kim Jong-un is the winner.
Absolutely. Well, that's true, because they're going to go back and they're going to cut this whole thing up, and they're going to make it look good for them and their propaganda when they go back, and they're going to plaster it all over their country.
But more than that, and then I noticed that Patrick has his hand up. The reason I say Kim Jong-un is the winner in all of this is he's a little tin-horn dictator. And here's the biggest nation in the world, the leader of the biggest nation in the world, flying to meet him in Singapore and have a meeting. All of a sudden, Kim Jong-un is being recognized. And you know something? That's what those nukes got him, was recognition. And that's what it takes in this world to get recognition and to have people listen to you, is build some nukes. Think of the listenership I would have if I owned nukes.
Yeah, a couple days before, they took them over to the casinos and said, look at this and look at that. And, of course, Trump said, look at the beaches you got. You could have a casino on your beach and the whole shit.
Do you know that in the White House they were talking with the guy from North Korea? He brought up the building of a casino in North Korea. Yeah. So that's what Trump is setting up for. Yes, Patrick.
We have a mobster president.
Oh yeah, we do have that.
Patrick had his hand up,
and then
Jeff.
Even like
Bill Maher pointed that out.
Hannity tonight. Are you going to come down to Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah. Okay, Patrick, and then Jeff.
I've been trying to get in for longer than I have.
Who?
Yeah.
Jeff. Okay, Jeff first then.
Okay.
You're such a gentleman, Patrick.
Oh, Patrick, I thank you very much. I want to say one thing. Of everybody here who's here today making discussions, Alex is the only guy who knows anything about the Korean War, because our age, and my age is about the same as Trump's. And you know what? I know shit about Korea other than working on Match. What was the TV show?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My father was over there.
I studied the Korean War in school.
But I don't know much about it.
That was like my major.
Oh, it is a war none of us know about. I mean, a lot of even I was, how old was I? I was in high school, I think, when it was going when it was coming to an end. You know, and you know, the problem with Korea was we came out of World War II, and we really were heroes. I mean, we went off to war to fight a war to really benefit other people rather than ourselves. This war was not on our own soil. And we came back feeling pretty good about ourselves, that we had given our blood and our treasure and whatever for a world that was safe from tyranny. All right? All of a sudden, we're looking for another war. Yeah. And that was the first war we had that probably we shouldn't have been a part of.
Well, China was trying through proxy through the North Koreans to take over the entire peninsula and turn it into a communist. No.
Yeah.
And then what we did is we created the demilitarized zone right away, and then we just held our ground, and that's all that really happened.
Yeah, we went and we stopped somebody from trying to do something, but it was something that was probably should have been fought out in that area.
Yeah,
right?
and it would, and China.
And by the way,
through the North Koreans would have just ended up taking.
By the way,
whole
if North Korea were part of China today, those people would be having a good dinner tonight. You know.
No. What I'm saying is they were backed by China, and they would and they would have just run over the southern part of Korea, and then it would have all just been Korea and a communist dictatorship.
But then after that, we went to Vietnam, and that was a total mistake.
Yeah. I mean, we did hold Korea, but in Vietnam we did not.
Yeah. Patrick.
The only thing that did bother me about the entire thing was the lack of bringing up human rights violations. I mean, I think that should have been part of the meeting, if not part of the agreement that was signed. At least brought up in the meeting, even if it was brought up only in the private meeting and not the working lunch, but it should have been brought up because it, to me, a lasting peace on that peninsula is going to require not only denuclearization, but human rights. And I don't know to what extent we can expect a country like North Korea, even if they come around somewhat to a Western way. I mean, you know, you look at some of the countries in the Middle East that still have brutal execution styles, but yet, you know, they're somewhat westernized. I think that's about the best we can hope for.
Yeah.
But that should have been brought up.
Rob has his hand up. Rob?
Am I the only one who looks at this and says that this guy has got such a pile of shit that's about to come down on him with this Mueller investigation and everything that's going on, and he needs this, and he'll do anything for this much? That's why he got that fifth of a page. He needs this. Because
yes,
otherwise,
Rob, and you're not the only one.
Rob, that's exactly what I was trying to say when
one.
I said about the Nobel Prize. He just needs to collect as many accolades as he can because he knows he's got the shit coming down on him soon. And so he needs to build up some credibility.
And when you say westernize, what are we becoming? His two best friends are Kim Jong-un and Putin.
What he was trying to do is stop the nuclear threat in the Korean Peninsula and a threat against the United States.
Please ease up on that.
I just don't give a shit about North Korea and their other problems.
Do you know why there never was any Phil, you want to know why there was never any nuclear threat? Because Kim Jong-un, who is not stupid, he's played this so-called businessman like a fiddle. Okay?
That's the one thing that Trump got right, is that he's a smart man.
Yeah. The one thing about this is now what was the point I was going to make? I forgot what the point was I was going to make. But it's quite a, I can't remember what it was. I had a point and I got so verbose in my where was I going? What did I say before that? Do you remember, Kevin?
Oh, let's go to Phil.
Huh?
Go to Phil if you can.
Go to Phil. Yeah, right. No, but I mean, I'm saying that Kim Jong-un was playing him like a fiddle, and the thing that I didn't get is why did he act the way he did towards the G7 when he was going to make a deal with somebody else a few days later, and he had to go there with them knowing full well that Donald Trump doesn't live up to his word.
It's very simple. You know what the tariff is on milk?
No, forget about the fucking tariff. He said, I'll sign it. I agree with it, and then he left and didn't sign it.
Right.
Okay, so he's a fucking liar. You can't do business with the man.
He stabbed him in the back.
Maybe that's the way. Maybe that's the way. Oh, he stabbed him in the back. Come on, that fucking Trudeau. That's Canada. They're so fucking polite. They wouldn't be able to find your back.
Yeah. Well, I guess his eyebrow got in the way.
What eyebrow?
Trudeau has paste-on eyebrows. And one of them fell, and they got a picture of it. It's half feet out his face.
Down during some press conference.
Yeah.
Why would he wear false eyebrows?
Hey.
It could be some kind of hair problem and growing eyebrows and doesn't have them. Could be.
There was a very light color eyebrow underneath it where it's supposed to be, and that might have been drawn in, and then he had the eyebrows on top, and one of them fell down.
Yeah, well, so you're making fun of a man's problem.
Yes.
Okay, all right, good. Because that's exactly what Trump would do, and he's your hero.
Yes. It's funny that Dianne Feinstein, who I don't like for other reasons,
neither do I.
Said today that Trump is doing the right thing by opening up a dialogue with Kim Jong-un. But Schumer makes the same bullshit argument that you're making, and
it's not an argument. It's an obvious truth.
No, you're just being a contrarian. You're looking for any way to tear down Trump.
Well,
okay, he was coming of Christ.
Rob,
tell the truth. Why should anybody believe this guy? He doesn't tell the truth.
He's a mobster.
It was on TV.
I think that he has an ulterior motive that benefits Donald Trump for everything.
You're going to see the
in the world be damned.
You're going to see the IG report that's supposed to come out on Comey and McCabe and a couple of these other cronies and what they did with Hillary in the emails, and you'll see why they're trying to crush Trump.
Is this the same kind of details that we were going to see in 2 weeks about how Obama was bugging him? We'll see it in 2 weeks.
This is a big report.
Yeah, where is all that stuff? Remember, he was going to reveal how Obama was spying on him.
Spygate. Out in the IG report.
We'll see.
Yeah, how do you know what's in the IG report?
See what happens.
How do you know what's in the IG report, Phil?
I was listening to the pundits this evening on the news.
Yeah, and what were they saying?
Well, they were. I guess they were also talking about McCabe is suing Trump or the FBI. For his firing, and they're saying that these are things he's trying to do to counteract the fact that they're going to come down on him for what he did. And so we'll see. This IG report is supposedly jam-packed with good stuff that will show that the Obama people and the DNC and the FBI did what Trump said they did. So you say that there's nothing there. I say,
well, you can't say there's something there until there's something there, Phil.
You have a good way of doing that with anything else that Trump does.
Take a look at what's happened with this Mueller investigation. It's not like it hasn't turned up anything. Everybody around the guy is either going to go to prison or is going to turn state's evidence.
You know, the way they do that is they trip the guy up with a statement, and then all of a sudden they indict him. I doubt anybody's going to go to prison. Yeah. I doubt that anybody is going to.
I think Mueller is up Schitt's Creek. If you want, not Mueller. What's his name?
Manafort.
Manafort is up Schitt's Creek. Do you know that he's wearing 2 ankle bracelets?
They're matching.
They're wearing 2 ankle bracelets. You know,
no, you don't think anybody's going to go to prison now? I mean, look what happened to Scooter Libby, among other people from other prior Republican administrations.
Well, he got
pardoned. He got a pardon, but
he did.
But he went
by
to
the skin of his ass. He did, and by that I mean by Trump. If it weren't for Trump, he'd still be in fucking jail, rotting where he belongs.
I think Scooter Libby was thrown under the bus during the original deal. Mm-hmm. I think.
But maybe by Cheney, I'll give you that much. Maybe by Cheney, and he should have gone to jail right the fuck with him. But like that's going to happen.
Yeah. Yes, Ray.
Okay, about the eyebrow, I just need to say this. I just looked it up on Snopes, and Phil, you will know this. It was a lighting issue. There's a lighting issue. There was a shadow coming across below his eyebrow, and I just saw the whole technical analysis of it. His eyebrow did not fall off. Okay, I just need to say that.
Excuse.
Bullshit. Go look at it yourself, Phil.
All right. Where'd you see it?
And you're the photographer. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Snopes.
Where'd you see it?
Snopes.
Okay, go on Snopes.com.
All right.
Good old Snopes.
Yeah, good old Snopes. In a world full of lies, they are the keepers of the truth. Yeah. But I just think that it was a big ado about nothing, and I knew that he was going to come out of there trying to have something to say that they did, but they didn't do anything. You know, yeah, they met with each other. I think that's very nice. But then again, the United States has met with North Korea before, and I don't think a president has ever met with him because he didn't need to. They sent the people who knew what they were doing rather than a president. But I think there was, I'm trying to remember, it was either Reagan or Clinton or somebody who they made they actually had a peace accord or a denuclearization or whatever with North Korea, and it was And they broke it. They broke it. Yes, Jeff. Oh, turn your mic on, Jeff. Jeff, turn your mic on. No, it's not on. Yeah.
I think that North Korea has nuclear equipment. We all know that.
Undoubtedly.
And the biggest I don't think we're going to take it away from them. They're not going to give it up. No. But the biggest concern is that they're going to sell it to other countries.
Yeah, no more than Iran will.
Right. And that's the biggest so-called risk of us. But I never heard Trump talk about that at all, nor did anybody else at the show.
I think what was bothering everybody today, more than anything else, was his lionizing of Kim. And lionizing his place in the world and how his country loves him, and he should be building condos on this lovely beach, which, by the way, he saw when he saw pictures of rockets being launched from them, and waxing poetic about his people love him and he's talented. You know, he could, if he didn't bring up the human rights issue, which maybe I don't know if I would or I wouldn't have, because you're trying to start a dialogue and why get hostile, but you don't go out there and do a speech lionizing the guy. That's the problem.
And that plus the fact that what Pat brought up, there was only one question about that in the press conference, and his answer was, well, we didn't have time. That was the answer to the civil rights, was we didn't have time.
Yeah. He had to take him out and show him the car.
Yeah, that wasn't
He showed him a car?
Yeah, you didn't see the video? He took him out to show.
Oh, yeah, he took him out to the car and showed him the fucking car.
Yeah, he was dying to show him his car.
It's like, Jesus Christ. That's like, you know, here's the beach you can have your casino on. Oh, yeah, and here's my car.
Is that the official limousine that they take with them on Air Force One?
The Beast. They call it the Beast.
Yeah. Why didn't Kim Jong-un go out and show him his toilet that he brought with him, too?
Yeah, the flushable one. Yes.
Yeah, this is the toilet I brought with me, Mr. Trump. You should bring your own toilet.
Patrick has his hand up. Yes, Patrick.
Has anybody ever really considered that the reason that Trump was speaking the way he did about Kim Jong-un was because he recognized himself in him and knows that the way to get something out of him is to treat him the way that he wants to be treated?
Perfect. Perfectly said.
And I don't know that that's a bad thing if, and it's a big if. Remember, I'm not a big Trump supporter by any stretch of the imagination, but if this could result in peace and result in positive things happening, that's such a bad thing that he's tickling the tip of his dick in the beginning here. And then if there are more meetings to follow, maybe it gets a little bit more complex and a little bit more hard bargains.
Yeah, how about if he
brings me back to Rodman? Rodman kind of opened that thing up and tickled his dick a little bit in the beginning and said, "Here, I'm a big basketball player. You like basketball? You know, let's play around a little bit." And then now he's got Mr. Trump over there playing with him a little bit. You know, if it's going to come out good, I don't have a problem with it. But it's just, I just don't like the grandstanding that's going on.
I can see why denuclearization is a palatable thing for Kim to do. And the reason is this. What do the nuclear weapons give him? They've already given him what he wanted it to give him, was that credibility in the world that he didn't have when he didn't have these nuclear weapons. Okay? So he could say tomorrow, I'm going to denuclearize as soon as he finds that the rest of the world still keeps him in high esteem. An American president flew across the pond to go meet with this tin horn dictator from what was a tin horn country that barely, you can't even see it from space because the lights aren't on, you know. And all of a sudden, he's a big deal. The whole world is showing his picture. The whole world
remember,
is...
he's only 30, barely 30 years old.
36. 36.
He's a freaking kid.
36. He took it over when he was 26.
26, yeah.
Yeah. But
overachiever.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that he's already gotten what he needs out of his nuclear capability. He can ditch that whole program if it means that it's going to make his country wealthy and that he's going to get a lot of things out of it. So really, Trump is simply walking into a situation. You know, you'll be next because Jeff has his hand up, Phil. Then you. Yes.
I often have negotiated a lot of different companies and countries also, and my strategy has always been: can we make it a win-win deal? In other words, does it affect me positively? Does it affect you positively?
Right.
I never heard any of that really from Trump.
Well, you have to remember, Trump was not a great businessman. I mean, he'd like the world to think so because that's what he was merchandising, was his ability, supposedly, as being a great businessman. But quite frankly, he was not a good businessman, and he's not being a good. And now he's making the big mistake of thinking you do this just like you do any business deal. And I'm sorry, he wasn't very good at that in the first place. Yes, Phil.
That's
fair. We've been in protecting the South Koreans, and we've spilled blood there for 70 years. We've spent billions and billions of dollars fighting this supposed threat. If we didn't have to do that, wouldn't that save our country a lot of money, and it would save a lot of lives? It just makes sense.
When was the last time somebody died? I have a friend.
There's a conflict there that's lasted for 70 years.
I understand that, but I have a friend who enlisted in the Army, and he went over to Korea, and he loved it there. In fact, he met a beautiful Korean girl who I met. She came here to visit him. He is dying to go back there. Oh, nobody's died there in years. Who's died there?
And secondly, Phil, name a country where we had an air base or anything like that after the war was over, we left.
Just the Philippines. We got thrown out of the Philippines.
Yeah.
What was that base that
Subic Bay?
It was in Subic Bay. Yeah, they threw us out.
How
of
does
there.
I forget everything else, but I can remember that.
Is that where you got your tattoo?
You didn't even have to pause, and I knew it. I don't know why.
Is that where you got your tattoo?
Yeah, that's where I got my tattoo. Yeah. I'll never be buried in a Jewish cemetery.
Yeah.
Your Navy thing? Oh my God.
Yeah. No, I should have gotten an anchor. You know.
Yeah.
Yes, Ray.
There, actually, there has been no conflict in Korea because of our presence, and Korea has thrived economically and contributed South Korea economically to the world for many years. And so I just think that argument holds no weight whatsoever.
I have a close friend, Conrad. You can see him on my Facebook. He just turned 86 today, and he won a Bronze Star with a Valor, with a V on it, in Korea.
Yeah.
Because he was being overrun, and he took over the machine gun nest.
Well, your point is what, Phil?
But you're talking about.
Wait a second. The war. I admit that war was horrible, right. And we don't talk about it a lot because it didn't last very long. But we lost a lot of people, and the Koreans lost a lot of people. I'm just saying, since the war, there has been no conflict. I'm not talking about during the war. Well, why would I be so stupid to do that?
He just had to mention somebody again that he knows that was in the dad to have a badge about it.
Discount the fact that it happened.
Of course it happened. I'm talking about after.
Oh, what? The Korean War didn't happen?
it did happen, and it's been happening for 70 years.
No, it hasn't.
No, it hasn't. You're arguing
they have taken hostages.
No, it hasn't been going on, Phil. There hasn't been a war.
What about Otto Warmbier? What about Otto Warmbier?
No. That was a kid who went. It wasn't like they snuck across the border and grabbed him, or he was charging in there with a rifle. He was there on a vacation.
He took a poster.
No, but that isn't that. No, the war has been over, Phil.
You can't use one example.
North Korea. It's a cushy gig going on there in South Korea. It's a great gig, believe me.
Yes, Patrick.
Technically, the war is not over. That's the
right.
The war
technically
is actually on. However, it has not been an active war, militarized, since '53.
Right.
And their peace accord was never signed.
That's right.
That was one of the things that I was hoping that would come out of this meeting yesterday or today, whatever. But I think if that comes out of it, that's a good thing for both the North and the South. As far as Warmbier and some of these other folks, they took their life in their own hand by wandering into North Korea anyway. I mean, you know, it's kind of like when the Soviet Union was the Soviet Union. Yeah, people could go over there on vacation, but your ass needed to be aware of what you were doing.
Yeah.
So that you didn't, and the same as Singapore. Does anybody remember that kid that did graffiti and ended up being?
Yeah, I remember that.
Kane.
Yeah.
Reference that on Married with Children.
Right. I mean, so when you go into countries like that, you got to be careful. So that had nothing to do with the war, Phil. That's just the way that North Korea had been.
Right, but it doesn't have to be that way if we live in peace.
You think that if we sign some kind of accord that the United States is going to pull out of South Korea suddenly?
No, I think that they'll wind down.
I don't think we will.
Having these war games, I just like Trump said, was provocative.
Never, ever going to happen unless they get thrown out.
Yes. Let me see here. Who had his hand up first? Let me go to Ray, and then let me go to Jeff.
Was this Warmbier guy the kid who took the poster off the wall, got put in jail? Okay.
Yes.
So what happened he was in South Korea with his friends, and some person from North Korea who represented the government and tourism invited them to come to North Korea, and they said, "Oh, okay, we'll go." So they went to North Korea. He had a couple beers. He thought it'd be funny to take this advertisement thing off the wall, and then he ends up in jail. So don't say he wandered into North Korea. He was invited into North Korea by a North Korean travel consultant. What?
He was charmed into coming over.
Yeah, he was by North Korea.
Cajoled into coming over.
Yeah, and then he stole something off a wall. You know, if he did the same thing in Singapore, he'd get like 2 or 3 lashes.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so
if you're a normal person, I spent 2 weeks in Singapore. I loved it. The food is awesome. The people are awesome.
But don't spit on the ground.
There's no shit on the sidewalk.
Right. I didn't write on anything. I didn't chew gum and spit it out on the sidewalk.
Yep.
Yes, Patrick.
I want to apologize to Ray for misinformation. However, the point still stands. You need to be aware of your surroundings and where you're at.
I agree.
I mean, I wouldn't do that if I went to somebody's house in the United States. You know, I mean, it's bad manners, and you also need to be aware of what countries. Like I said, the USSR, when it existed, people could go back and forth on vacations without problem, but you still needed to be aware of where your ass was. So you didn't
No, I agree. I went to China when it was a full-on communist country, and I went, and I was careful. But I mean, this guy, how old was this kid? How old was this guy?
I mean, how stupid was he to go to North Korea in the first place?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I agree. You got to follow the laws of the country you're in, and if the laws suck, either don't go or be really careful. You know, I'm not. I just wanted to say. I just wanted to make it clear that he just wasn't like, you know, willy-nilly wandering into North Korea like those people did. Where was it? Those 2 kids that were hiking and they wandered into Iran or something like that.
Iran.
Yeah. Now that was a different story because who knows what they were up to, but
They were CIA, actually.
yeah. So
Jeff,
yeah,
turn your mic on. Turn your mic on.
Marcel.
You know, okay,
it's mime night.
I know. I always try to
Gabnet.
Improv.
I have a number of medical products that were developed in South Korea, and because they had a great little manufacturing operation, and their costs were good and their quality.
My car
good.
was made in South Korea.
And I was going to say, a lot of people know about Korean cars.
Yeah, mine too.
They're sold here all the time.
Hyundai makes a lot of stuff, including
Yeah,
furniture.
that's what I'm driving.
So, you know, South Korea is a, let's say, a very organized country. And except for the North Korean, which is, they have one capability, which is nukes. Other than that, they really don't have much going for them.
People are
South
bored,
Korea,
starving.
that there's no graffiti, that I didn't see any disabled people. I didn't see any bums on the street. No beggars.
Where is
Seoul.
this?
In
Oh,
Seoul.
Seoul.
Yeah. It was at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was bumper to bumper traffic, and everybody was working.
Well, think of the companies that come from there. LG is a South Korean company. I believe Samsung is.
Samsung, yeah.
Hyundai. Yeah. So I mean, it's not like a poor little country. I think the problem is that North Korea, because of their position and the way they have acted over the years, have not been able to be a successful nation that way. But they could have been, you know.
And they may be because of what's happened in the last 2 days.
Well, I'm sure that Donald Trump will buy the first product off the line. Okay.
Well, I guess he's going to get a timeshare on that
island. Yeah, and I hope he moves there and leaves us the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I
Now
hope
let
it
me
happens.
bring up a couple other things. One of the things that I wanted to bring up, and I have another Trump one, but we'll do that in a bit. You know, we had 2 suicides within a relatively short period of time. Kate Spade, who was the sister-in-law of my friend David Spade, and was the handbag maker, and the what do you call it? And Anthony Bourdain, who I loved his show on CNN. I don't know if you've ever watched it.
He did one on Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but it's just terrific. Just terrific. He waxed.
You always reminded me of Anthony Bourdain.
I do?
Yeah. I thought there was a similarity in your look.
Well, anyway, Patrick, we lost Patrick's picture, but I don't know. He may be going off to stab it and grab it or something. Anyway, but everybody has been saying, "Oh, it's so sad. It's just horrible." You know, and they've just been waxing poetic about this. And the first thing that I thought was, what selfish fucks were they? One had a kid who was 11 years old, and I think the other one had a kid who was 13. And then Kate Spade, in her suicide letter, said to the kid, "It's not your fault. Ask Daddy." You know, I mean, what kind of selfish shit is this? You're going to leave behind teenage children. You know, I find that absolutely the most selfish of things to do.
Were these people on some sort of psychotropic drug?
No.
Are you sure? Because Bourdain had a lot of drug problems.
Yes, but when he had a drug problem when he was a kid, when he was younger. What is that?
That's somebody's phone.
Wait a minute, we just lost.
Trying to come back.
We just lost Patrick again.
Bourdain still
might be
had
having
a
connection
drug
issues.
Yeah. What? What'd you say, Ray?
Bourdain still had a drug problem. He was on heroin, and he was a heroin addict through his 20s, and then he still had a really bad drinking problem, And for a heroin addict, that's multiplied by 100. And he smoked a ton of weed. And I was listening to Joe Rogan, who was a friend of his, and they went hunting a few months ago. Went pheasant hunting, and Anthony Bourdain, cooked the pheasant. It was awesome. And then he got into the whiskey, and Joe said he just was down in the whiskey and smoking the weed, and Joe couldn't do anymore, and Anthony just kept going. And it's the kiss of death. If you're a heroin addict, if you're an addict on a hard drug like that, and in your life, if you keep drinking a lot and stuff, you're really playing with fire, because the shit it does to your brain is really bad.
By the way, Rob, we've lost your camera. Are you still there?
I lost everything. I can't even see the app anymore. I hear you guys, but I don't even see the app. It's gone from my screen. It's the wackiest thing. So I just decided, how the hell with it.
We see your picture and we hear you.
Yeah.
It's 11:40. I'm like, I'm not going to bother. Just
you have another monitor, because sometimes I
have two monitors and they're both up, and I just checked, but all of a sudden it all went away, and all I see are their desktops now on the monitor.
It crashed.
Yeah, and it's not in my task. It's not in the on the taskbar there. So I
was smart enough not to do the update that they said was in my was ready to be done. I didn't get conned by that one.
But wait a minute, you're using a PC, right, Rob?
Yeah, PC.
Yeah, and you're using a Mac, Phil.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
when you do Control-Alt-Delete, it's not showing Skype.
In the taskbar, I should check Task Manager if I do.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, Control-Delete.
Yeah.
And Task Manager.
Yeah.
I do Control-Delete.
But anyway,
Alex, I know it seems selfish.
But I mean, it seemed. I couldn't. I felt great sympathy for the children, because the kids are going to blame themselves.
Yeah, they're going to have psychological.
They're going to have psychological issues for years to come. And why you would leave your why in your moment of desperation you don't say, well, I can't kill myself because I've got this kid.
I thought Kate Spade had money problems. They said
no,
there was something.
No. But she and her husband were living separately.
Yeah.
But they were working on their marriage, so it wasn't like all of a sudden they were out dating other people and they'd given up on each other and they had enmity towards each other. They were working on it. But yes, Patrick.
My understanding is hers seemed more planned out versus Anthony Bourdain, which was almost like a snap decision. I can't speak to depression personally. I know people who deal with it and deal with other psychological issues, and I agree it seems selfish when it involves children, because you're putting a lot on their plate that they shouldn't have to deal with. But I don't think people who commit suicide who are in that state are thinking as clearly as what you and I might, Alec, because we're not dealing with all of these demons that seem to cloud judgment. And, like when I got paralyzed, I was told I was supposed to be depressed by a psychologist.
Yeah.
And they insisted I was depressed and that I needed to be. And I said, well, I'm not. And I had all these other goals. And, I guess we're all made differently. And I can't sit in judgment on either one of those two on whether or not it was selfish or not. All I can say is, like you said, I feel badly for the children because they're going to carry that for the rest of their life. Whether, it was my fault, I didn't get a good grade in school or whatever. So, and for Kate Spade to leave that message,
it was like she was saying, I blame your dad for this, so go ask him why.
Yeah. What a selfish thing. And I think suicide's a selfish act.
Well, I think it's more than that. Sometimes it's an act of getting even. A lot of times people do it to get even with people.
That's pretty selfish.
Rob, Yeah.
But I love getting even. I love being vindictive, as you've listened to in the first 25 minutes of this program. I can be a very vindictive motherfucker. But the only problem with trying to be vindictive via the use of suicide is that you can only do it once.
Rob was trying to say.
Or as
something.
I like to stab you in the back and in the front with a knife repeatedly.
Okay, Brian. Rob was trying to say something.
All I said, it's the old I'll show them, mentality. I'll show them they wronged me, or they'll see when I'm gone. I think a lot of it is that when that's one of the ways you think when you're thinking about doing something. The one
thing that got me was how they committed suicide. They hung themselves by doorknobs.
Like
yeah. How do you do that? I mean, I'm taller than any doorknob.
You sit on the floor.
Yeah.
You just choke yourself.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Yeah. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Really?
I'll choke themselves until they pass out.
I'll have to do that on the show. I'll have to do that on the show tonight. Some night here.
How did David Carradine do it? He did it by some sort of.
Yeah, but he was jerking off. He was just trying to get the. He was, He was just trying to get.
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to kill himself. He slipped or something.
Yeah, but Anthony Bourdain actually did it with the hotel bathrobe sash, belt or whatever you call those things. Which usually you steal those, don't you? You don't hang yourself with them.
They sent you, Bill.
Well, maybe the house people stole it after they investigated.
Yeah.
I think the Anthony Bourdain one is particularly shocking, just because he was such a big personality. A lot of people related to him. I know I did. I even went to Costa Rica last year, and I went to this restaurant that our driver brought us to, and they thought I was Anthony Bourdain coming in to review the restaurant.
The thing is, I got to tell you, I got to tell you, don't underestimate Kate Spade. When she died, my wife was grieving because women know those handbags.
Yeah,
and she got out of the handbag business a few years back, sold the company, had a lot of money from it, and just recently started a new company with her husband. But I'm saying
has got her daughter's name.
Yes,
that's her daughter's name.
Yeah.
Frederica, something like that.
Yeah.
And just keep in mind with Anthony, we don't know a lot of stuff. I mean, we know he was a heroin addict. I know that he had a drinking problem still, and I know also that if you combine all those things and you have depression, it can turn into psychosis quite quickly, and then you're not going to be thinking straight at all.
Yeah,
and you could do anything and not even know what the hell you're doing.
Well, I'd kill myself, only I'm a coward. So,
well, the Romans used to think it was a heroic act.
Oh yeah. It was, yeah.
So what was not the kamikazes, the samurai or something would choose suicide over other forms of shame,
yeah.
Yeah.
Dishonor.
Has anybody heard the FUD going out there about Bourdain's death? The deep what do you call it? Not rumor, but they're saying that he was about to uncover a pedophile ring, and that he was killed by the Clintons.
Oh my God! Vince Foster. Vince Foster.
State you're talking
the
about.
Ghost of Vince Foster came back and murdered.
Yeah,
him.
I know.
Hey,
bunch of religious fanatics.
Just to change the subject, the people that are really hard up, they're offering 12 months for $60 at Sirius Satellite. 12 months. So that's $5 a month for 12 months.
Oh, I gotta just unsubscribe so I can get that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, that's
I've
not.
got a lifetime for my vehicle, so fuck it.
Wait a minute, 12.
It used to be you get 4 months.
Yeah,
Now
you're right.
it's
Well,
12.
Oh yeah.
That's a good
but
deal.
you know what you don't get? You don't get the internet service.
I don't need it.
You don't need Sirius Satellite. They kept calling Shecky over and over again. Each time the price kept going down and down and down. So
that's how it works.
Hey, listen, I'd subscribe if I were you. I really would. All of you, please.
I think that's a pretty good
because
deal.
my stock with them has been doing pretty goddamn well. So
Yeah.
you know, they vested me like 3,400, like 5,000 shares originally. I got to sell a certain amount off every year, and every year I sell off less than I make from it. So like it's up to a good amount now. You know, so
Hey, Alex, did you see Lampanelli cussing out the whole crowd at the San Jose Civic Auditorium?
Which
the other night?
Yes, she just it wasn't just cussing out. It's just she went ballistic.
Oh yeah, she went insane. Yeah.
Why?
Did you see that? Because one guy was heckling her, and then she just went off on everybody.
Everybody,
like
the whole
everybody
fucking audience. Learn how to alienate.
Not kidding.
Now
not
that brings us to the next.
Channeling Robert De Niro.
Well, this is what I was going to bring up next.
Yeah.
Was Robert De Niro at the Tonys, which I would play for you, but I've tested it and I can't get it to play anywhere because they keep censoring it. And I went and tried to find the most obscure version of it, and they still.
Who's censoring?
The Australian one where he doesn't.
No, if I tried the Australian one, and that one, they said, well, you know, you can play it, it'll go out, but you know, certain players won't be able to watch it. And I found out that, for instance, on my TV set when I went to YouTube, it wouldn't play it. Okay,
actor, can you do it live?
Yeah.
Can you do your best Robert De Niro?
Yeah. Let me get the exact. It was like it's no longer. Wait a minute. I got to see the words. What were they? It's no longer down with Trump. It's fuck Trump.
Yeah, and he also started out first time. He said that twice. First time he just came out and said, "I just want to say this: fuck Trump," and the audience went crazy.
Yeah. I thought that was so
which proves to me the gays don't like Trump.
I mean, this was just right after those kids from Florida sang the song from Rent.
Yeah.
You know, it was like 2 minutes later. That was just terrible.
They actually did a very good job of it.
They did, and then they had De Niro coming out acting like that. That was awful. That was awful. He's not even a stage actor. What the hell's he there for? They knew he was going to do that.
I believe. A Bronx Tale he produced on Broadway, or he maybe even.
Love that. I'd love that.
That's right. You're right. He did.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah. So he does.
Okay.
I loved that movie.
You didn't like him doing it, saying "fuck Trump."
No, I thought it was. I just didn't think it fit the night, and I mean, it was such a feel good night, and there was a lot of love and stuff, and then those kids sang, and then he comes out with the fuck Trump. It's like, I don't know. I just didn't think it was the right place. I just thought it was a big downer. I thought it spoiled.
Some people felt it was a bad thing to happen because they feel that it might alienate some people.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just going to give the people who do support Trump more weaponry now to.
I didn't really have any problem with it, but I think there are political ramifications. Yes, Patrick.
Yeah, I didn't personally feel insulted. I just felt like it was just a bad decision.
Yeah,
that's all.
Patrick.
Yeah, see, I don't even hear that stuff. I mean, not a fan of Trump, but all my life, all I've heard was Hollywood and musicians putting down any of my political beliefs, and I can't live my life trying to weed them out, because if I did, I'd have nothing to watch and nothing to listen to.
Right.
So if Robert De Niro doesn't like Trump and says that, and I agree with Ray, I don't think that it was the right place to do it, because of the, right after, the kids and all of that. But if he wants to say it, that's fine. I still like all his movies. I'm not going to boycott De Niro because he has an opinion that I disagree with.
Phil will.
It just goes to prove that if he doesn't have somebody writing the words that come out of his mouth, he just spews shit.
All right, let me tell you a story about Robert De Niro. I had heard that Robert De Niro was one of the stupidest people on the face of the earth. that from a brain standpoint, he's lucky he can breathe. He has such low intellect. Okay, and so one night I'm at dinner with somebody who is best friends with Robert De Niro, and I said at dinner to my wife in front of them, I said, I hear De Niro is just one of the stupidest people on the planet.
He was standing behind you?
And no, wait a minute. And my wife said, hey, look, so-and-so's his best friend. You shouldn't say that. And he looked back at me and went, he is one of the stupidest people on planet Earth. Have you heard the same thing, right, Ray?
Oh, yeah. Who's the actor that was on Doogie Howser? He's a musical guy now.
Yeah.
Jason Patrick.
Somebody. Patrick.
Yeah. Anyway, he said the same thing. He was nice about
Patrick
it.
Harris.
Right. He went to an audition for his first film, and they said, you're going to be reading with Bob. And he thought it was going to be like Bob, the stage manager, right? He gets in there, it's Bob De Niro. And he's trying to audition with De Niro, and De Niro can't even read the fucking script. He kept like screwing it up.
You know that,
and he thought he wasn't going to get the part because De Niro, he was like, by the end of it, he was so pissed off at De Niro, he ended up getting the role. It was like, he walked in awe, and he walked out totally angry. Like, because De Niro couldn't read the damn thing.
Rob,
if you've been watching SNL the last few weeks, he's been playing Mueller, right?
Yeah.
He cannot read those lines.
I know.
He couldn't even say live from New York, it's Saturday night. He fucked that up. If you look at it, it could very well be. He's just a dummy.
Yeah.
Or he's dyslexic or something.
What I said was, if he didn't have writers writing the stuff that comes out of it.
That's probably what it is.
Well, here, a lot of people say, well, how can he be dumb? He's such a good actor. And I tried to tell people this.
Too.
Wait a minute, Ray, and you're an actor. Well, you probably agree with me on this. You can be dumb and be a great actor.
Yes.
Actors are siphons for a personality that they're portraying.
Yes,
and that does not take
but
it doesn't take intelligence. In fact, if you're too intelligent, you're not as good an actor.
That's actually true. The super egghead types are usually the writers.
Yeah.
Or maybe the directors. But yeah, no, you don't have to be super smart to be a great actor.
Right. So but
especially for film, because they can do as many takes as they want. And they can tell you to do it. No, I want you to do it this way. I want you to do it that way.
Brando used to have the words on cards around the room where they were doing the picture.
When he got older,
that's why you would see Brando kind of looking at the ceiling and go, God, because it was up there. He was reading. But
I think they had to do that for Streetcar Named Desire because they almost fired him a week before the show opened on Broadway. He didn't know the lines.
Really? Yes, quickly, Patrick. The theme is playing. What?
It's amazing that De Niro got through Once Upon a Time in America. And that was a long fucking film, and he had a lot of fucking lines.
Yeah.
Well, he could have had an earpiece, too.
Yeah.
Sometimes they use
hey,
earpiece
listen,
in movies.
Thank you all. It's been a nice evening of discussion about the world that's falling apart in front of our very eyes. Jeff Stein, thank you so much for being here, as well as Scott Boddicker. Hello, Scott. And Kevin, thank you. Thank you to Brian Ludwig, who's been sitting alone in a car. Looks like I'm glad that they don't think you're some kind of pervert waiting to try and pick up kids. Phil, thank you. Patrick,
fuck
thank
them in
you.
the ass. They do.
Ray, Nani, thank you. And Rob, I hope you get your Skype back. And all of you, please give a big wave goodbye so they can see your lovely faces. Bye-bye. And that's our panel for tonight. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Let me get me on here. There we go. And let me also get rid of them at the same time by closing down Skype so the next people can use it. That's Jack and Amy with The Intersection, followed very closely thereafter at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time by Connections. And then let's see here. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow night we'll be back at 8:30 with the Arena with the franchise MC, followed by Damian Chaplin. He's at 9:30 with the Exchange, and then I'll be back here tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, same time, same station and life. In the meantime, if you see her, Tell her I love her, okay? Bye.